How happy were you with the way things went?
I would not say ecstatic, I would say overly ecstatic. Because my coach and I, Scott Kendricks, we have planned this out from the beginning of the season. And last year we took a step away from my university and foregoed my senior eligibility in order to get some experience in the professional ranks. Thus, jumping in the Diamond Leagues, competing with Renault on a regular basis. These other great jumpers like Tiago and Jan Kudlička and my good friend Piotr Lisek, they all push me to greater heights. And that's something special when you come here and we all have to come here together. Yeah, I have a little advantage because it's home court, but I also have an advantage because they're all there with me. And we've been places before.
How much of an advantage was it having jumped on this, jumped here last week?
I'll give you an analogy. If you climb to the top of a mountain, do you know what's on the other side? If there were no maps before, then you yourself would have to see it. And you could not paint a picture unless you crossed that mountain before. There's this huge barrier with this lack of a medal, this expectation of your country looking at you, and having covered that mountain, to see what it lies on the other side, to be here, to speak as a vaulter that's come from the bottom ranks in America, that's really special. Very special to me.
This was like a standalone event. The crowd was just focused on you guys. How did that change things, or how did you feel about it?
A lot of times in Europe, we have these standalone vault competitions, and there's music, and there's people, and everybody's having fun with a beer in the stands, but they're all eyes on the pole vault. They may not know the most or the intricacies of the event, but they can learn to appreciate it. And that gives you a little bit of expectation when these people they came all the way here to watch you, to be impressed, to see something, to be inspired, gain a little wisdom if they're even a vaulter. Find that little piece that helps them work out their jump in the future. That's really special when they can all stomp their feet and clap their hands because they're looking at you.
You've got a silver now and you've jumped 5'9". Do you think 6 meters is your next?
There are 19 men before me that have jumped 6 meters, and 2 of them were in the competition today, Sean Barber and Renault. I find that to concrete yourself in history as a pole vaulter, you need to jump 6 meters. But I will not rush myself towards that eventuality. 590 is something that I was so happy to jump the other day. And that was a product of great atmosphere and great competition here in Portland. And 6 meters is a process because the real estate gets very expensive up there around that 19-foot 8-inch mark, and you go at it a piece at a time. Now, I may not jump it until I'm 25. I may jump it next week, but I'm not going to rush myself. I'm not going to get hurt. I'm going to continue to do my best to compete for the USA when the time comes.
It seemed like you had a good connection with the fans. Did you feel like, as an athlete competing on home soil in the United States, you sort of had a duty to create that connection?
It's really cool when you look in their eyes and if they say, "Go Sam," you can say, "Thank you so much," and they understand you. That's a little bit of an English barrier. When you go other places, I don't really speak German, I don't speak French, I don't speak Portuguese. But when you come here, and those guys may have seen you, they may have jumped with you in the past, sitting in the stands, they may be somebody's parent, they may be your parent, somebody's watching on TV. These are all things that build that heart rate. It just makes you so nervous. And if you can control that, you could use it. You can use it, a little bit of adrenaline to get over that next bar. That's really special.
Did you use it today?
I did. I had to. You could see I had to take a knee after my 580 jump because I had passed the previous bar. My heart rate was just so high. My oxygen level was just so. I started to lose my vision. And I had to take a step back, realize that where I was, get my oxygen back, and go evaluate for the next jump. I didn't make the next bar, but I was ready.
What was the strategy for passing that bar when you did?
Well, it was a bold move, and I was kind of at odds with my coach at that point because he said, I do not know if 75 will be the medal bar or 80. And it turned out 75 on a first attempt would have been a medal contender bar. But having not known that and going towards the 75 bar and having no misses beforehand, I was in prime spot to take advantage of the situation. And that Renault passed 580, I was then ahead of him. So if I had missed 575, I would then be behind Renault because I knew he could probably make it on his first. He does that pretty regularly. So I jumped to 580 to be just ahead of him and hopefully put the pressure on him when the time came to 85 or to 90. But he did his usual Renault thing, put me to shame. Just playing.
What do you need to do now, from now up till Rio, to get back on the podium there?
Well, the barrier for these huge events in the summer, USA outdoor trials and the Olympic Championships, is that they're a 2-day event. You have a preliminary and then you have a final. Now I had the luxury here in Portland to jump last Friday and then have a full 4.5 days, 5 days to rest and be my usual self. The trick is, can you be your usual self the next day and the very next day after that? That's how you compete for these gold medals.
What were you telling the kids when you were watching Renaud take those attempts at the end?
I said, shh, the guys are trying to get you on camera. And I was like, well, they were all shuffling forward because I put my pole out there for them all to sign, and they want me to sign their phones and their shirts. And then the guys kept rushing them back because they were on TV and they didn't need to be in that spot. I can't fault the TV cameras for that, but everybody's trying to clamor for a little bit of a memory. And I had to kind of coach them into how to help Renaud, because it is not necessarily about jumping a world record, it's about being safe and attempting a world record. Because I know Renaud, in his heart of hearts, knows that one day he will be able to jump it again, but not if he breaks his leg today. And I was happy for him that he was able to come out unscathed.
You during the competition, you visited with the kids there on the track several times. Was there anything in particular? The other athletes primarily stayed away, but you made it a point to visit with them.
I felt it was my duty as an American athlete to really bond with the American crowd, and it worked out for me because they yelled even louder because they knew I was looking at them just as they were looking at me, and that was really special.
All right.